not too long ago, a game broke into the gaming sphere that was very well deservingly and almost unexpectedly a cultural phenomenon and raised expectations of what games could be. That game was 2023's Game of the Year, easiest game of the year ever, by the way, Baldur's Gate 3. But who made Baldur's Gate 3, you may ask? Well, the director of the game was a man named Swen Vincke. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you, though, that it wasn't just him. It was the hundreds and hundreds of people who helped him along the way, because this man is always focused on his people and just loves his team so much. Swen was born May 30th, 1972 in Bruges, Belgium, and from an early age was very invested in games, particularly Dungeons & Dragons, and the Ultima series of games. From that inspiration, he decided, hey, I want to try to make a game. And in high school, he did make a game. And after seeing all of his friends and family enjoying playing this game, he decided, you know what, I don't want to do anything else with my life but make games. And in 1996, he founds Larian Studios, allegedly named after his dog, Lara. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. And so Larian Studios gets to work on this very first game, LED Wars, which was a top-down, real-time strategy game that they released in 1997. But even before that, they really wanted to make a game called The Lady, the Mage, and the Knight, but no publisher would pick it up, and so that's why they went back and made this real-time strategy for a publisher instead. Looking ahead, though, they actually do, after this game, make a game that they really wanted to make. In 2002, a game called Divine Divinity releases, and it is a isometric hack-and-slash game, much like its contemporaries, like Diablo. What this game did different than Diablo was that it had a lot of CRPG elements in it, meaning that there was branching dialogue, choices that mattered. But sadly, they didn't read the contract with the publisher that they worked with very well, and this game actually ended up making them not very much money. And they had to resort to making casino games for websites just to get by for a little while. But they do continue, though, in frustrating times. They do get publishers, and they do make the next Divinity game, and the next Divinity game, and Divinity 2 was the point where they actually kind of broke, because Swen was so fed up with this game being rushed out and not what he wanted, and having to deal with all these publishers just was not working for him. And he said, you know what, we're not going to work with publishers anymore. We're going to take every last bit of what we have and put it into one last game. And that they did. And in 2014, they do pull it off, and they release Divinity Original Sin. And it is everything he ever wanted in a game. It is everything he wanted in a CRPG. And it is such a financial success that it puts them into financial independence, and they can now support themselves and make what they want themselves. And so they do with this newfound recipe for success. They go on and make Divinity Original Sin 2 as well, which is another phenomenal CRPG. And that game is actually what prompts Wizards of the Coast to approach them to ask them to make, you guessed it, 2023's Game of the Year again, Baldur's Gate 3. And it's kind of funny because Swen actually reached out to Wizards of the Coast and asked for the project years before, but they didn't listen to him. And now here they are crawling back to him. And Wizards of the Coast also just gives them complete creative control almost over this entire game. Well, we know how that all turned out. But anyhow, Swen and his team now going from just 30 people in a little studio in 1996 to over 500 people worldwide with multiple studios, so that way they can do even more ambitious projects in the future. Swen would always remind you that it is not just him, it is every one of those 500 plus people making these great experiences happen. But yes, take care of your people, have passion for your games, and the money will come in. What do you think of Swen? What do you think of Larian Studios? And as always, thanks for watching.